filibuster here. A 10 hot private. This is the War on Comics. I'm Colin.
I'm Omar.
You fucked up, brother. You activated my trap card. What made you go with Watchmen? Tell me.
Well, I saw this beautiful little what was the edition called? This is like these new like
I forget what they're calling them.
editions. They're kind of like manga size.
Compact comics.
Compact comics.
That's the branding on it. You get this fucking $10, man. That's a great price. And we got it's like newsprint.
Yeah,
I like it. Yeah, it's hard to turn that down, right?
$10 for Watchmen, what arguably the most solid comic.
Yeah,
it's kind of like a format, at least that I saw.
Right.
And I wanted to keep digging Alan Moore. Like I just needed to go back. Dude,
yeah,
after that Tom Strong.
That is the big one.
So
I mean, I think what you'll hear about Watchmen a lot is like, I wouldn't call it the best comic, but it's like good.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the best comic. I'm the one.
Yeah.
I am the straw man. People say that Watchmen is the best comic, but I like XYZ. I'm just like, it's the best comic. Rolling Stones is the best rock and roll band. Moby Dick is the best novel.
These things
The
can
Godfather
be true,
is the best movie, and The Watchmen is the best comic.
There is objective truth. And I think that this is the best comic, I think, at least that we've seen honestly, so far constructed maybe now that I've we've been doing this, I feel like I got more out of it because we've been doing critiquing stuff more.
Right.
And I was looking at it in that lens, and it was even at this size, man, it was amazing.
I mean, my belief is that one could read Watchmen once a year, and I think you'll find something new there. Maybe every 2 years. If it's ever after that, you're definitely due. And there is something new you'll find every time. It is so rich with multi-layered storytelling. I think it is the kind of the pinnacle of what comics can do, to the point where, as a real Watchmen fan, you don't watch the Watchmen movie, you don't watch the HBO series, you're not fucking with any of that doomsday clock nonsense. It is just the 12 issues as collected in any collection that you can. And to me, it's infinitely rewarding. I think it's time we crack in and see what the fuss is about.
Let's see who's watching the Watchmen. But I don't know if this will do, honestly. So what do you think?
Let me see if we get. Bang! I went a little hard on that. I don't know if we got the absolute.
Absolute, man. This thing, dude. Where did you get this? This is so sick. Look at that.
You get these things over.
There's about 50% more book there, ladies.
You will still. Guess what though? Anyway, read it on your tablet, on your iPad or whatever. You'll still get. It's bulletproof. You'll get it. You'll get something out of it, no matter how you read it. But we do happen to have the big old honker here, so. Shall we crack open the big old honker?
Let's get that honker going.
All right. So I'm very annoying about this comic. I am a true fanboy. So you kind of put me in a headspace to analyze this stuff, as I will read Watchmen on a day. Right? It does not take much to get me in the zone. So I'm very happy. Arguably one of the most iconic opening pages of any comic in the world. The kind of the cinematic zoom up. It's so impressive to me, and with Rorschach's kind of ramblings from his journal, which all this stuff. Needless to say, we're going to talk about this as a reread. We're talking to you as if you have read it. So if it does, and I'll preface with this. Why I think Watchmen works so well, it's like a shell game of sorts. It's a 3-card Monty happening. So while they are doing this meta-textual, fantastic things with the page, as far as zooming out and how the text and art interplays, they are building this world from the ground up in 12 issues, which is astonishing. While that's happening, part of that world is these characters that are happening, and if you're just paying attention to the characters and following, like, what Rorschach's saying and what all the different characters are going through, then you're not really paying attention to the plot. And what the plot is also a very solid mystery,
Hmm.
that a science fiction tinged mystery that plays off in a great way. And so while one thing is if you're paying attention to one thing, another thing is happening behind the scenes, and it's just so masterfully balanced and
Yeah.
played around. And this so we know. Okay, so we'll now say, if you for this is from here on out, this is all
Right.
spoilers. And so this guy here is Rorschach, of course. So
Hmm.
we see him walking around while this is happening. If you've never read it before, you don't know this is Rorschach. This is just a mysterious man in the background, and it should play. They tell you in the middle of the book, but as
Right.
you, the 1985 reader, you don't know what's going on with him. You don't know what's going on in this whole world. They are introducing you to it. And I guess this opening page is kind of exactly what they're talking about. They're starting small and they're getting bigger and they're expanding and they're showing the history of all these characters and of capes. And to what I took away from it this time, something that really struck out to me is, in Rorschach's classic edge lord monologue, right?
Yeah.
Taxi driver esque kind of situation.
Literally hard boiled. I I got so much enjoyment out of reading the Rorschach
Yeah,
stuff this time. Like, it's funny every time to me, but this time it. I feel like I just kept, like, the character kept carving itself out through the journal entries. It was insane.
and since this book has been written,
Mhm.
Rorschach is like kind of like one of those literally me characters.
Right,
And it's
right.
like, I'm him. I relate to
Meme
him.
for sure.
And Alan Moore has like gone out of his way to say, no, no,
You do not
no, no,
want to be
no.
that.
This is a portrait of insanity that I'm trying to portray here.
And by the way, is it so? I don't have a deep like background with Watchmen. I
Uh-huh.
read it when I was younger, and I think a lot of it completely went overhead.
Right.
One thing right now that I'm noticing is that this is a comic in itself. This is like a
Yes.
splash page cover,
The
and then
cover
we're
goes
going
in.
in.
There is so
It's
much
insane.
layers to this, which again is why you have to kind of read it and reread it and reread it.
Yeah.
And also, again, playing into that, like, shell game situation. If you power through this and don't give it any credence and don't think of it as a great work and just are like, here's a random ass comic I picked up, let's see how it is, you're gonna really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to know a thing about panel to panel transitions or lettering or inking or
Good point.
history or any of this stuff. Like, it is a solid enough story to hold up on its own. So we're threading the needle here. We're getting
Right.
really upset, I think. At least very obsessive and kind of sharing all the analysis of it. But like, you can just give this to your cousin that doesn't like comics, and they will still get something from it.
Yeah.
So one like kind of deeper lore thing I took away just from this opening page when we were reading Ditko's question stuff, because of
Mm.
course Rorschach is based on
For
the
sure.
question. All these are all Charleston analogs,
Mm.
and this line right here, he's like saying, "Oh, all these scumbags, they had a choice. They could have been like decent men who believed in a day's work for a day's pay," which is like a genuine like slogan or cornerstone of objectivism, which is what
Whoa.
Ditko was like deeply involved in, the Ayn Rand
Yeah.
philosophy, which was like very blatant in those question
Yeah.
stories.
Yeah.
Black is white and good is bad, and in Ditko's style of writing in general. And of course, these are largely like, this 9 panel grid here is
Amazing.
that's like a Ditko thing. So,
Hmm.
and this is a Ditko character. So this is kind of to call out specifically the day's work for a day's pay and ascribe this to this character that he's portraying as a complete raving lunatic.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it's like a sneak diss. It's just like, I don't know. I guess kind of showing the logic. It's a conversation
Yeah.
between Alan Moore and Ditko in a way.
You know, he is kind of telling him, or I think opening that up to say, because he was alive at this point,
Oh
right?
yeah,
Ditko
yeah,
was totally alive, and
yes.
um,
And he had worked. He was at this point doing Mr. A, which was
oh yeah,
complete propaganda
yeah,
ultimately, or philosophical, ideals of this objectivist philosophy,
yeah,
because which in itself, not to get too sidelined, it was like that was a very Atlas Shrugged and Fountainhead. Those were like kind of older books going back to, I want to say, the 40s off the top of my head. And in Reagan's 80s, of which we are smack dab in the middle of, that objectivism, like a day's work, a day's pay, a man's worth is yes, this is that, and da da da. I mean, that is the era where "Make America Great Again"
yeah,
comes about as a phrase, and Reaganomics. It's, I guess, ultimately it was kind of part of what sold Reaganisms,
mm,
Reaganomics to the masses, which ultimately began like the erosion of the. I'm not going to say socialism, but like there's a lot of socialism in the New Deal, which was like
mm.
really built to get us out of the Great Depression, which was came about because these fucking stock market wackos got to just fuck up America. And enough time had gone by where basically Reagan was like, let's fuck up America again. Let's let the fucking stock market wackos fuck up America. And when you get into that, like, my money is mine and your
Mhm.
money is yours, and a man should not have to. Why should the my sweat pay for some welfare queen? Yada yada.
Right.
You know, it's again, I acknowledge this is like simple propaganda that's used to prop up other systems, which are essentially just there to prop up, hoard wealth
For
amongst an
someone, yeah.
oligarchy. So it's not like that. Not like those politicians actually practice that, but they're able to sell it to people to get elected to amass their power,
Hmm.
and that is, you know, whereas you could look at objectivism as a flawed philosophy or an overly simplistic philosophy in
Yeah.
itself, when you are seeing what it's doing to the world in action, which was, again, that was a lot of crossover with Reaganism. It's like kind
Yeah.
of it's a very prescient modern story, and
Super.
what's old is new. So we're not that.
It's
We're
really
still
not.
we are look, man,
It's
I'm
fucked.
sorry. All the punk rock records that I grew up listening to talking shit about Ronald Reagan. Turns out they were all more right than even they do.
Right. At the
Because we
time,
are still fucking getting
it's
fucked
the
up over this horrible philosophy. But
it's the
that's
cancer. I mean, what's funny is that I think that he's embodying all of the shitty parts of like that, like puritanical, like Americanism
yeah,
and
and
like
of course Alan Moore
bullshit.
as an Englishman is sort of seeing this from the outside, and this is
Mm,
sort of his. He's looking at America and looking at comics and looking at what the hell his fascination with superheroes is.
yeah.
It's sort of all playing into this. There's a lot of big ideas being handled in ways that are subtle and not so subtle.
Yeah.
And again, not to go back to my original point, like as far as razzle dazzle and layouts and metatextual stuff, like this checkerboard of the flashback of the murder of the comedian and the police investigation of it, like this is a masterclass in
Yeah.
layouts. And this is a fucking DC comic book. Like they were, I don't even know if they were doing Crisis on Infinite Earths at this point. Like they like
Dude, yeah.
compared to everything on the shelf, this is astonishing. This is
Yeah.
so well thought out and so well concocted. I'm gonna call this like a mini splash, and I'll get
Oh,
to
okay, yeah.
my point in a second because I don't know. Maybe I overthink this too much, but something else I noticed this time around is all
Oh
these like
man.
glorious.
Yeah.
You get these 2/3 splashes, and everyone who gets a 2/3 paid splash in the first issue is ultimately the major player in the last issue, which speaks to just
Mm.
how well conceived this story is and what you can kind of do when you have like a 12 issue series. Here's the story we're telling, and you can kind of put things in the first issue that are going to be very relevant in the end, and to see like it's not like, oh, they were looking ahead. It's like, no, they had a fucking map. Have a goddamn map for your stories.
Yeah.
So here's our Rorschach splash, and he goes through and finds the comedian stash, which clues him onto who that this guy who was murdered originally, because the police and most of America doesn't know it's the comedian.
Mm-hmm.
They just know him as this government person who is, I guess, the alter ego of this comedian character. I forgot how the comedian was based on from Charlton Comics. I think is one of these more patriotic characters, and of course Alan Moore makes him a complete sociopath.
It's amazing.
We're on to cozier times with the old Night Owl and the new Night Owl. I'm pretty sure Night Owl was based on Blue Beetle, who went through a few different incarnations. And another Ditko, another character Ditko
Blue
played
Beetle?
with. Yeah. And yeah, they're catching up. This is a Iggy Pop song, "Neighborhood Threat." These
Right
lyrics. Yeah, and
Hard.
yeah, that's the other thing is there's a lot of like music references. So this is the opening one, "At midnight, all the agents," which is half of a line from a Dylan song, "Desolation Row." Well, we're having fun here, folks.
Alan Moore, man.
He brings it back at the end of it, but it's like even he's kind of just giving some texture to this stories. And Rorschach comes in to chat with the current Night Owl. And let's see here. So Alan Moore is also, having read a little bit more Alan Moore stuff for this bit, or for this podcast, I realized what a fucking joker Alan Moore is.
He's cheeky. He's freaking cheeky.
This is like because Rorschach is just kind of like this, I don't know, fascinating character. Maybe you get lost in the exact I don't know, dialogue or whatever, but paranoid, is that what they're saying about me, that I'm paranoid? That's funny.
That's so fucking
It's a
funny.
very funny punchline, and it's not, and like Rorschach knows it's a joke.
Right.
He's saying it as a joke.
They're saying that I'm paranoid?
Yeah. It's funny.
It's fucking hilarious.
But because Rorschach's just this kind of like, monologuer, or because he's monotone and like short and succinct and sharp in his dialogue, it's like hard to see these jokes slipped in. But yeah, to see Rorschach cracking the joke, very funny. Quick with the one-liners here.
Yeah.
This is my if pushed, probably my favorite panel of the single panel as a splash, because it's like, again, I don't even need to give someone this comic to teach them about comics. I could give them this page, because here you have in the dialogue up here, we're following Rorschach leaving via tunnel in his place, and he's kind of he's kind of chiding him, because you find out that there was this act that made all the capes retire, and he's the Hollis, the Night Owl, who kind of retired. He's like, oh yeah, those were great times, Rorschach. Whatever happened to them? You quit.
Yeah.
Hard.
Calls him out.
So you're like, the shifting of the perspective of the tunnel via the lights is not a small feat. But then the way his eyes lead you down to this page, and he's, feeling ashamed. He's looking at this, one of his, I don't know, co-workers, compatriots.
He worked closely with the comedian.
And he's seeing his, blood splattered on his logo, and he's like sitting in the shadow of this, of his costume that's in the closet. It's like, this tells you
so crazy,
everything you need to know about the character, and in a sense, the larger world they inhabit. Like, I don't know, I've always, that's one of my go-tos. It's not the most exciting, but I think everyone who's read this has that
And if you have gone through the book, the first like issue hits even harder
Yeah,
after the reread. So like reading that part, like this kid who grew up, all he wanted to be was the night owl,
right. Yeah, I
right?
mean, you're seeing him talk with the old
The
night owl, like, keeping
OG.
up with him. I love this scene again. If this is economics, you
Yeah.
know, they have a lot to get through. They have to tell you the whole history of this world, and like, how do you show in the shortest way possible that Rorschach is an intimidating figure? You have him walk into this seedy bar, and the look of terror on the people's faces and the silence. Like, that's how you communicate that this is a bad motherfucker.
It reminded me of the Roger Rabbit scene. And he goes in
Yeah.
and he beats up that drunk guy. It's like, yeah, dude, you need to have your guy, the hard boiled dude.
Yes.
He's got to command some respect from the underground, you know?
And I'm trying to. I don't try to put too much on this. You get some information from him,
Mm.
but the idea of like color and paying attention to the colors, because the colors are pretty consistent through all the different versions of these. And I think there was some revisions from like when they were single issue to like the
Oh,
final form that you see here. But you know, kind of a tell they give you a little bit is the purple for Veet. When purple is kind of like symbolically has that regal element to it. However, like, you know, in comics shorthand, certainly the golden and silver age comics that these were based on, the secondary colors like your orange, purple, and green,
mm,
those are like, you know, bad guy
yeah,
colors, and then the good guys are blue, red, yellow, and you can kind of see them stick with that. Rorschach, primarily being brown and black and white, is
right.
like a little bit pulled out of that. You want to get very pedantic, I guess you could say he's a little bit portrayed as more of a villain because of the purple. But Veet in that big purple blazer is
Yeah.
like, they're kind of telling you what's going on here, you know. And when you go back to the beginning, you're like, oh yeah, that's all
I
this
mean,
information was here the whole time.
all this stuff, like, just knowing that like, at this point, he knows what's happening.
Right.
You know,
Uh,
like, and he's
ye-
fucking around with his company. It's just like
right.
the level, the layers that I'm seeing it. Maybe it's the fucking size of the book, man, but it's like it's hitting harder.
Yeah, and again, it is eternally something you can just go back to
Yeah.
forever and over. And Rorschach's quest to continue telling them. Here's another
Oh
two-thirds
man.
splash. And again, I do think they should have given Sally Jupiter here her own two-thirds. But what are we gonna argue with the experts here? She's in it, and again, these are the people: Night Owl, Rorschach, Veet,
Yeah.
and oh boy, here are the guys in the final act.
You know, I guess it makes sense that they make him tower over her, right? Like
Right. Yeah, she
she's
is a
being
minor. And of course,
overshadowed,
that's our two-thirds
right,
smash
of
as
this
well.
guy.
Yes. Okay. And I guess, you know, again, to go back to the colors theory here, you got
Mhm.
our blue and red. So we know these are good guys.
Right, that they're more pure
Right.
intentions, I guess.
Yes. Or, you know, maybe that's they're playing with our expectations with that.
Right,
Well,
true.
or they're showing who they're rooting for. Anywho, yeah, Rorschach's
Ink.
warning them about this killer, which is hilarious, of course, because old old Doctor Manhattan can kind of there's like nothing that could possibly threaten him, but Rorschach is seeing him as a superhero. Like, oh, someone's killing superheroes, got to warn all of them, even the Invincible one. I think he's based on Captain Atom
Oh, okay.
from the Charleston comics, and I
Sick.
forgot Sally Jupiter is based on one. Take your pick. They're all. It's ultimately, you know, neither here nor there, which what they're really based on. But it is fun that they're like,
It kind of like enriches the. I mean, I don't know them very well, but
right,
I kind of remember like when you said the Blue Beetle
the
with the
question.
question, and now I'm definitely seeing a little more of the 100% the question.
Yeah,
100%.
the question, like, and amplified by like Ditko's philosophies, which
Hmm.
were in the books themselves, of course, but like these are all hyper amplified kind of figures. And you end the comic with how you began it, with the let's see here. You start with the pull out, and you end the pull out on the on the smiley
Amazing.
face. And it must have felt so fucking satisfying to put that together. It's so forward thinking. It's so progressive.
It's so this is where I can point to and say this is where I see like there's like a meeting point with film and comics here.
Yeah,
But this is comics, pure comics.
it could not. You couldn't do this in
You can't.
film in the sense because you would obviously you would lose this weird zoom in thing and with the dialogue being as loud as
Yeah,
as it is the text being as large. That would mean you would have to have the voices be as big, and
right.
why would you do that? And
It just does. It wouldn't. The
no,
feeling would not
is this
work.
is there is the only way to tell this story in this way, or the I don't know. To me, like what I say is like 1/3 of the shell game is what you can do with comics, or how
Mhm.
you can have comics interplay with the story. So if you take that part out, then you don't have
Yeah.
the story, like period. Which is why no adaptation, animation. I mean, I get motion comics. Like fuck off. It's just this. This is it. This is all you get. No video games, no fucking.
Just exact. Just put in the effort because like this is it's a I think we've used the term before like a pastiche. Like the you're getting a unique story, but also there's the layers of the meta aspects of each of the like superhero characters, and like
Absolutely.
on top of that there's commentary of Americana and like other kind of American tropes, uh and even in like the rereads, reading these
Awesome.
again, they're just uh they are it's like poetry, like how really good poetry can like command or just has this like I don't know how to put it. It's just inspired, man. It's
Yeah.
super fucking
And
inspired.
this stuff right here, you have to read the back matter. You're not allowed to skip this
You
stuff.
cannot. You cannot.
And this is, I think, where the a lot of the heavy lifting in terms of the world building goes.
Hmm.
Because again, like I am in Watchmen world. I know Watchmen world. It is an alternate history, and I've spent so much time in there by
Yeah.
going back to these stories again and again. And this back matter in each of the issues is a big part of what does that, because with these we're kind of getting into the origins of superheroes and all the ones. I guess this would be like the golden age heroes who
Mm.
were around before the silver age heroes who we're following. And you know it's packed out with lots of useful information if you
Yeah.
want to have the world more fleshed out. So
Well, just the feeling of the world itself too
yes.
is like there is a lot getting filled out here, and you just can't skip it. You cannot skip any square inch of this comic. You have to like do your due diligence. This is I think this is every comic book reader's like first true test. You have to read this.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I am
No,
I'm gonna be that guy now.
it's fine if you want to start here. Start
Yeah,
here and then read a lot more comics, and then come back to it, and then see how
exactly.
much better you are at analysis, and how why this is like considered what it is.
And how does it stack up to those comics? It is I'm finding that this handles everything you would want in comics in one place.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, we talked about. I mean, going through Cerebus, I think there was a lot of stuff in there that was like,
mm,
this is like a fleshed out world, but the way that maybe it's communicated, either they're telling, there's a lot of stuff in Cerebus, the 300 issue run of
mhm,
Cerebus, which in its defense is, a completely original world from the ground up, not,
yeah,
just a alternate timeline of America. So a lot more there's been a lot more foundational work done than this. But I think with Cerebus, there's a lot of lore dump that's like, okay, this isn't the best way to get this information
Yeah.
across, either it's like through conversation or something like that. Whereas I think like down to the word count, this
Yeah,
stuff
this is
in the
perfect.
back of the comic is just enough to make the world feel more real, to tell the history of these characters who aren't 100% relevant to the story being told. So they don't necessarily need, contrary to what fucking DC would tell you, their own, mini series to tell you about the golden age of the Watchmen universe.
They were probably so stressed at these pages. I gotta say, dude, so I've heard today actually that I was digging through some bins, and this dude was telling me that the back matter here is done by Neil Gaiman.
All right,
That's
news to me.
So I had never heard that before.
Yeah, he is. He does get
Like a credit or
our
something.
man gets a shout out. Let's see here. Special thanks to Neil Gaiman, Mike Lake, Pack Mill. So could be.
So the homie said it was Neil Gaiman needed some assignments because
Right.
he wasn't getting his due at DC, and Alan Moore would give him the back matter while he and Dave Gibbons would work on the comic.
All right.
But I just don't know.
It seems like it seems like a pretty significant thing to leave your name off of. But maybe I'm tipping my hand in terms of being a.
I mean, I've never heard that before. If you guys have, we have a couple people commenting some stuff on the Cerebus stuff. So hopefully we can get. If you guys know, I mean, that'd be interesting to hear about.
We can add this to our stack of canceled books, canceled creators. They got to slip it in. Every one of these little naughty boys here.
Naughty boys, man. And again, boom. Splash page that is the first panel.
Yes,
cover panel.
And it zooms into our first panel here. We got Sally Jupiter visiting her mom. And again, we're playing with the Reds primaries. That's how you know they're the good guys.
The good guys.
Absent. And so, to go back to some of this like text and story interplay, it can get a little on the nose. This would be one of those like a little bit to the point. Mom, it's okay. You don't need to open any more doors or windows. Her mom's giving her grief over the smoking. Look, I'm putting it out, okay? It's dead, extinguished. And then the next panel is our guy in the coffin. You could say it's a little on the nose. There's a handful of moments like that where it's pretty blatant.
It's a little, I would say, egregious.
Yes, exactly. But you know what? Hey, it still just gives you an idea that they're kind of putting thought into the dialogue and the art and the text playing out. We got some. This part's a little grimy here.
Yeah, it gets dark.
In that Hollis Mason book, they're talking about like this attempted rape of Sally Jupiter's mom, and by the comedian, which is why the grudge is held for so long, and it's pretty gruesome. And this is kind of a throwback to the first issue where you see the killer or the guy who kills comedian kind of holding them by the hand. There's a lot of the comedian just looking at you in first person perspective here. But that's I guess they're kind of, I don't know. There's one of the many themes of the books is going to be sort of this complication of black and white. And, I think you think of the most horrible thing imaginable, which was a sexual assault, and a woman being like, the survivor being like, it was different times, and their daughter being like way more mad for her.
Yeah. She's kind of trying to cope with it, and in this like with all this time that has passed, and he passed away, so it's now we can look at it with that perspective, but it's dark.
Yeah, and I think Watchmen is often a little too simplified as like, what if superheroes were real? Because it's
Yeah,
I think more about like what if we kind of had to complicate the morality of these stories and not look at them. And you'll see this confusion of that where there's endless stories since then where it's a superhero but they're hooked on heroin and
yeah,
they're killing people for money and like they confuse like edginess with like the kind of trying to make something realistic in terms of the gray morality
yeah.
of life and the kind of
They kind of stop treating them like humans and start kind of positioning them as though they're like and I think they say it here, it's like, oh, they're demigods or all
right.
this kind of stuff. But I think if people had this power, they would corrupt like this. They would be
Yeah, of
something
course.
would happen, you know?
And and they would also have God, that's a silly thing, but I was listening to James Cameron interviewed about the new
Mm,
Avatar movie and something he was like, a problem with comic movies and bigger, blockbuster movies in general is like someone will die and they'll be like, oh, they'll be, grief stricken. And then 5 minutes later, they're in a
yeah,
fight again and they're
yeah,
moving on. And he's like, what he wanted to do with his movies, not to bring up Avatar, is like, these, great literary accomplishments. But he was like, I wanted to really have the grief of death in my movies last. So when, these the Na'vi lose one of their family members, it carries over like into the next movie. They're
yeah,
still grieving them, and yeah, I think that's kind of what I'm talking about when it's like the kind of realistic. People don't want that kind of realism,
right.
the lasting of grief or something, or the true like graying of human emotions. They just want edgy content.
The
they
like
they conflate the
escapism
two. Right,
in,
right.
in that sense.
One really cool detail is Doctor Manhattan just kind of creating the shield around himself
So he doesn't get rained on.
instead of having the umbrellas. And this is another really this is a gruesome one. Is
Yeah,
flashback to the Vietnam sequence, which is of course like you come to find out that essentially Vietnam in this timeline is won by Doctor Manhattan
hmm,
because of his powers, and thus they're celebrating their victory here. This Vietnamese gal who the comedian knocked up while doing war crime shit over there, like kind of confronts him, and the comedian officer, which is like
it's
horrific and like kind of showing just how it. I do think you could talk about how women are used as like props or as
mm,
means of just getting the story forward. Now this woman's death is just like some nothing kind of thing, but I do think that it hits. It has
yeah.
an impact. It is like it does stay with you. I don't think it's treated frivolously, and
Oh, no, I mean, it's chilling. It's
yes,
still chilling, like
absolutely.
because they reference back to it, and I think one more time, and it, Doctor Manhattan, it turns out is experiencing life all at once.
Right, time it being a flat circle
It's
and
a
all that.
and all that kind of stuff, and that kind of it just feels even more eerie.
Yeah, and he calls them out here. You could have
Yeah,
changed the gun into steam or the bullets into mercury or the bottle into snowflakes. You could have teleported either of us to goddamn Australia, but you didn't lift a finger.
yeah,
And that's like kind of I think it's been done to death in like Superman stories or whatever, but it's like you are sitting by while fill in the blank atrocity is happening when you could be solving these kind of bigger issues here.
right.
And it's like, yeah, all these characters in these comics with godlike powers just allowing things to
They just
happen,
let it happen in
all the
front of
world's
them.
atrocities. And we're kind of fast forwarding into the I think 70s here, which is like you
That's right.
it's this is a each character kind of gets their own comic, their own issue to like hone in on the character. And of course, through the character, we're also seeing like the history of this timeline. But
Yeah.
you see the comedian like getting older and more kind of corrupt or
Yes.
just
Starting to
fucked
don
up.
a fucking gimp
BDSM
mask.
mask.
Yeah.
Great.
Punisher.
Yeah, and you see the first who watches the Watchmen, which I think that phrase is from a Greek. It's something Greek, and it's like well, the full I think question from the I think it's a play originally. Someone's like, well, who's going to protect the women? Who's going to look after the women and the children? And the guy says, well, the Watchmen will. He goes, well, who's going to watch the Watchmen?
Wow.
So it's kind of a an old, very very old play that phrase comes from. But of course, it you don't necessarily need to know the full context of that. It's the phrase is kind of
Because it
self-explanatory.
like works here, but I bet it adds to the actual like elements of the story.
And
This is the best shit. I always laugh at this part.
yeah, Rorschach sitting in the fridge waiting to surprise because he's treating Malak. This is this
Oh man.
magician character from that the Silver Age guys would fight, and Rorschach is still convinced he's a complete villain, treating him as such, even though he's an old guy who we find out is dying of cancer. But he's telling the final story of the comedian, and it's like you're seeing obviously he's found out Veet's plan, which he doesn't call out by name. This is kind of incoherent if you don't know the full story. It's again one of the many reasons why a reread is benefit. But you see this guy who was previously in a gimp mask, beating up protesters and killing pregnant women, and you're like, this is an inhuman monster, and they're showing him stressed out, which I guess is kind of the similar premise of Rorschach showing up to the hard-boiled criminal bar and having everyone get silent. You see just
it's like the inversion of it.
You see the extent of how fucked up this plan is just by how the comedian, this horrific person, is affected by it.
I never noticed. Is he crying?
Yeah, or tearing. Yeah, for sure. Those are tears pouring out of his eyes. And of course, this is the same. There's the same panel as you get when he's getting beat up during the sexual assault here.
That was with
oh yeah, Jesus. Further back here, huh? No?
Yeah, I think that was at the top of the Sally story.
Yeah, right
around here.
So yeah, we get you can kind of see this kind of image pops up a lot. You just looking at the comedian head on.
So the young guy.
Yeah,
and after the years of
and getting his face slashed, and ultimately learning about this plan. This is the only time you see him really distraught, which is to go back to my shell game theory. Like you develop the character, and the character develops the plot, because for him to if you didn't know how hardened and sociopathic he was, you wouldn't really see how ominous this larger plot at scale is. And see Rorschach, of course, in his funny moments, shaking down the lot
so much
for his illegal cancer pills.
I have cancer. Cancer? What kind of cancer?
So Rorschach's, in his taxi driver headspace, pays his respects of sorts to the comedian, piecing together all these stories about him. And on that note, we close it out with an Elvis Costello quote to go back from the music, how music plays a role.
I love like the different pop culture aspects that he's
using for sure. It doesn't all have to be too high-minded.
Especially right here. This is one of my favorite story elements throughout the whole book.
The Black Freighter stuff. So cool.
It's so cool. And was this actually like a comic phenomenon? Is he making this up, or did that actually kind of go down?
I mean, my take is because we are fascinated with superhero comics because we don't have superheroes. I think his conceit is like, in a world where there is really superheroes, people would be looking for something else, and like, why not pirate comics? And
that adds to the world. It feels lived in.
Absolutely, because it's like comics are still here, but why would? And this is like something cheap you'll see in like Fantastic Four comics, especially. They're like, we're making comics about you guys, but like, we don't really have comics about our celebrities. We have comics about the Fantastic Four because we don't really have the Fantastic Four. So this is kind of a more grounded answer to that, I think. And also, uh, comic snobs like us, we're like, comics are actually a medium. Superhero comics are only one genre within this medium, and I kind of feel like maybe this is like a more healthy world where you would have romance comics and pirate ship comics
Yeah.
and soldier comics because that's how it was forever. And for whatever reason, we have wound up in this place where, especially in America, comics are just synonymous
Yeah.
with just superheroes. And yeah, so maybe this is a little bit of wishful thinking on
On his end.
He gets to have a little bit of a fantasy too, where comics are about things other than superheroes. And this is where like the text and the real world, the text of the Black Freighter comic and the real world, you can go through and basically line by line every single panel, both the panel within either you'll see a panel from the comic book and you'll see dialogue from the real world seeping into that, or panels from the real world and you'll see the dialogue creeping into that. So,
and it's reflecting and obviously if you've read it, you can tell it's just reflecting what is happening or is being said in that panel.
I can't stress how unnecessary it is. Like, they did not need to go this hard.
They didn't.
It was unnecessary. Like, you could take that out and it's the same story. But like, it just goes to show like the high level they were at. This is like a comic that should have come out after the Watchmen. Like we're gonna take the Watchmen and kick it up a notch. It's
with this story element, it just brings it up to like a whole new level. Yes. It keeps going.
So within the comic, the guy's playing with the masthead, her damp embrace had prevented me from drifting beyond reach, yet this small comfort was all I could offer. I could not love her as she loved me. So just as the pirate is kind of fondling the masthead of the ship, you kind of see these fondling of Dr. Manhattan to his mortal partner. Kind of similarly, it's like again a little on the nose. Some of the textual stuff is like, okay, we get it, but at the same time, like, come on, man, like let our man cook.
Let him cook. I do. When I was reading this as a teenager, and I was like, I hate this shit. Like, what? Like,
yeah, it's just slowing down. Why are we doing this fucking pirate shit?
What is this? Like, this is funny to me. Like,
right.
But
I want to see the guy's blue dick some more.
Yeah, what the hell?
There's that blue dick.
Now we got two of them.
Yeah.
This felt very Venture Bros.
It's yeah, absolutely. Like the two, like he's like, oh, I'll give her a three-way with two of me, which is already like a lot. But then it's like she realizes that those two are actually, he's not even there. He's working on this fucking science shit.
He was just trying to distract her because he's trying to get to work.
These are some adult situations we're involved in, and like, again, just an economic way of showing a person's power. She smashes the glass of chemicals, and he just sort of just simply reassembles it. And there's this is like, it's dense, but there's also an economy to it. They respect your goddamn time here. This is a fun little Easter egg, I guess you could say. But when she's getting her lock fixed, the Gordian Knight lock co, there's a painting at the end. I won't bother flashing ahead. We'll get to it. But ultimately, there's after completing his grand caper, Veet is standing in front of a painting of the Gordian Knot, which is an old, I think it's Greek, maybe it's Roman. But, the idea of, I think they bring, I'm going to botch this really bad. You know the Gordian Knot story better than I do?
I don't actually.
So they bring this knot to, let's just say Caesar, and if I'm wrong, crucify me. And they're like, okay, you're so fucking great, solve this knot. And so he just takes out a sword and fucking lops it in half, and it's there, solved.
I figured it out.
Premise being that it's like the simplest solution to a complex problem. If you give someone a knot that's so intertwined and complicated, it's kind of what do you call it? Indiana Jones, right? The guy
Like,
flashes the whip everywhere,
yeah.
and he just comes out and blasts him. That's a Gordian knot solution. So, again, if you have your whole ideas fixed out, which of course, Veit's idea of bringing about world peace is in his perspective, it's a Gordian knot parable, and I don't know the tie-in with the locksmith to that or why that's necessary, but whatever. These again, the many things you get from the rereads. Now, if you want to go so far as to think that the Gordian Knot Company is a Veit subsidy and this is how they're spying on Night Owl, feel
I
free
think that
to
adds
expand.
definitely.
But it's these are the things you can accomplish just by having the words written on the back
Just
of the
throwing them in
locksmith's
there.
company. You could have just as well had it, secure Smith Co. and move
Yeah,
along
or
fine.
like
But
an Acme, like
yeah,
straight
exactly.
up.
Nothing. Just hi, I'm the locksmith guy. Why not?
But this is Alan Moore we're talking
Yeah,
about.
exactly.
That's why.
That's got significance, and that's why he's taking up that shot in the frame, and you can read the shit on his back real
So
clear.
true.
Like, there's nothing here that's wasted. All this graffiti, all of it serves a purpose. It's,
Yeah.
I don't know, very, all adds to the richness of it. So Dr. Manhattan's old lady's leaving him. He's going to do this press conference, and this is kind of a really exciting sequence. Again, just had to feel so fucking good to draw this out. So these two ex superheroes are pulled up by the knot heads, who I think are like kind of again, it's just alternate timeline. I think like some kind of like violent Krishna gang, which I don't hold much meaning to it.
Oh, I guess I see the.
Yeah, it's just like kind of their version of like I don't know who are the like sewer dwellers from X-Men.
Is it
The
the
Morlocks.
Yeah.
Just some kind of street gang,
Yeah.
and they're cornering our ex superheroes who kind of like they know what the fuck to do.
Yeah.
Reaches for his wallet and then boom, boom, boom. And while they're doing their fun street fight here, Dr. Manhattan is getting grilled on this kind of gotcha journalism
Yeah.
where they're springing the trap on him that basically he's cancerous. People who are exposed to him and have received cancer, which reading it now is like so thin because it's like you just named 3 people because I think we all have 3 people,
That
3 people that have
could've
probably had it.
Yeah,
So
true.
it's like not the strongest one, but hey, whatever, we're getting through it, and it's like not the most. Compared to other things in this book, not the highest. You don't need a high degree of analytics to get it. It's just physical fight, verbal fight.
I guess it just serves for the tension.
Yes.
Like he's the blue. He changed the blue to be more like complacent to them.
Yeah, and to make it appear right on television.
And like, so he's trying to connect with the humans, at this point.
And the humans, either through just journalism or whatever it is, are kind of running him off and sort of sealing their own fate to an extent. And I don't know. I think more so than the combat stuff is this like the very blatant sexual undertones in this. Or
she's
smoking a cigarette after, like they're really letting you know the panting after, like they just nutted.
Yeah, straight up. They needed that.
Yes, I think there's a lot of ways you could kind of imply that there's a psychosexual element to crime fighting, but it's like this is all you need to do here. We see what's going on.
We feel that they are unsatisfied with like not expressing their like that element.
And a nice little detail, Dr. Manhattan blasting the audience home in a kind of a rage for such a detached person. And they caught it on camera. He's getting lambasted, and I don't know. And, and the paper they were talking about earlier in the comic finally shows up, and our news guys ready to make some money selling the fresh news. And we're ultimately teeing up the Dr. Manhattan issue where
we're going to Arizona here.
Yes, going to Arizona and then Mars. And then let's see here. We got Rorschach getting his right-wing newspaper. You got Sally Jupiter not really being able to come home, kind of getting told to kick rocks by the government folks, and
she's lost her usefulness at this point to them, I guess.
yes, and so she's kind of on her own. And I like this sequence quite a bit. You see the newsman being everyone's in it for themselves, and then he sees kind of he understands the significance of this as they kind of set up earlier. He kind of sees like we're kind of closing in on the end here, and he's like, "Shit, hey kid, forget about it. Take the comic, take the hat. We got to look out for each other." Kind of communicating to us, the readers, the significance of it, and we're kind of setting up Dr. Manhattan's like, "I'm here, I'm there, I'm everywhere."
This like side quest.
Yes.
This whole kind of loneliness and
the iconic meme here. Bringing the Bible. We don't have to quote Bob Dylan and Elvis Costello. Sometimes we can quote God.
I mean, and I think that it also adds to that like godlessness that you get from the feeling is that this is like a godless world, even though a literal God inhabits it.
And we'll close out with chapter 4. I like this. We'll do 4 at a time, so we're not overbearing. We don't have to rush, and we don't have to
catch up.
What do you call it? Milk it too much. Even though I clearly,
I mean,
I could fucking vamp on this comic.
I'm loving it, man. This is one of the greats.
Yeah, and
so when you first read this 4th issue, this is like, how did this feel to like read this the first time?
Oh, I mean, brilliant, because it's you're invested in this character enough at this point in the comic where it's like, I hate this shit in like this is like pure Netflix slop where it's like, the killer's coming, the killer's gonna get you, the killer just broke down the house. Next episode, this was the killer growing up.
Yes, it completely slows down.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's like, I don't know, certain shows can get away with it, but like by and large, just like, oh, okay, this is what happens when you have a 90-minute movie stretched out into a 12-issue episode miniseries. So this kind of shit often annoys me, but to the point, if you do a good enough job setting up the character and actually getting people invested in it, like we can take a break from the story moving forward and get to the background. So I was, I guess it's hard to. I read this a long time ago, so it's hard to remember my first time. But I was so engrossed, like immediately when reading it. I can't really.
Like, to me, I often feel that there's a slump, like in a series,
right?
Like, I feel like usually by issue 5, 6, stuff starts kind of slowing down, in a bad way. And this was, to me, like just like Ditko, Jack Kirby, like one of the greatest like lore drops for like a single character ever.
And I think you do that by, again, having us invested in the character first, and we're also not entirely frozen in the past. It's not like, I'm late for high school, I hope a spider doesn't bite me. It's like, we're learning about this while we're playing with the going back and forth between time here through his memories, and going back to his childhood, to his college days, his work, all that sort of stuff. This is horrific origin story, which is terrifying.
It is fucked. And actually, this panel, when I read it before, I mean, I didn't give a shit, This past time, I was like, damn, that feels nuts. And he's looking in the back and forth. He just knows he's gonzo.
Yes, and there's nothing to be done, and she can't even be there to comfort him because it's so horrifying. And these are like some EC comic style faces here, and you get to like the splash pages. One of the most memorable like images from the comics period. I don't care.
Absolutely. I mean, that's some EC stuff right there.
And you're kind of seeing the disintegrated man kind of reassemble himself, and he's drawing the parallel to the Watches. It's
And
like,
was this the I'm sure this has been aped many times, but was this the Frank Miller famous one that he did a basically a homage to
oh
in
shoot,
Sin City?
I know, yeah, I'm out of sorts with that
Dude,
one.
I might need to bring that one
I
for
could stand to read some Sin City in general.
nice.
I'm up to turn my brain off and look at some.
It will take yes.
Yeah, we're kind of seeing more about him showing up as like an apparition, and his relationship with his first old lady that kind
Yeah.
of falls apart. I always thought this was so fucking hard, where he puts the his own, what do you call it,
The
logo
symbol
on
he
my
can
head.
respect.
Yes, if I shall have a symbol, it shall be one that I respect. And as the news are going through, this is the toughest line. We repeat: the Superman exists,
And
and
he's
he's
American.
American.
That's so hard, man. I bet you Alan Moore was fucking hyped to use
Yes.
that line.
And this is so, yeah, he's kind of going through when he was still like in this weird superhero group, and even when he was like in these simpler times, he was still like horrifying,
Yeah.
people because of his powers. And this is quietly one of my favorite sequences in the book. It's something you could read and just forget about, but ultimately, the original Night Owl is like, all right, I'm just going to retire and tinker on cars. It's kind of always going to be cars to tinker on, right? And Dr. Manhattan's like, well, actually, I've kind of just invented this new electric car method, because
completely.
previously we've never had the ability to manufacture the batteries, but now I can just change some atoms around and make it happen. So, like, his appearance shifts the world in so many ways. Again, economic storytelling. Like, he's showing how like the world can transform with just the appearance of one superhuman figure.
Yeah.
And like, our man who just wants to have a retirement, even something as quaint as that, is now out of reach because of these technological
He just
developments
takes
that
the
are
wind
happening.
out of his sails.
And
And I mean, but that's what would happen.
yeah,
He is overtaking the old world,
we're,
literally.
we're seeing his budding romance with an underage girl. Always
Yeah.
cool to see. It's great. We all love it.
Yeah, exactly.
Little touch on the before
Yeah.
sequence, because we all know how this goes, and still just really hammering in how completely unhinged
Evil.
the comedian is. And I think this is sort of, I don't know, the I guess horseshoe theory, right? Because you have
Mm,
this like complete intellectual removed from the world, who sees like the grander universal uh, scope of things, and he's found insignificance in the day to day
yeah.
of humanity because he thinks in such big scope. And then you have the complete fucking sociopath that just
Yeah.
is just immune to feeling, and somehow you end up in the same place.
And it's almost like they are
Yeah, there's some mirror
there's a
there. They're
mirror happening.
entwined.
Yeah, it's not a yin yang thing. It's like they're almost two sides of the same coin in a way.
Yeah, because you're still talking about being disaffected by humanity
Yeah.
here. Go back to page 20, when we first saw.
20. Oh, coming
Oh,
up.
which 20 did I go with here? Couldn't have been in here. Yeah. So fun little back and forth. We have our big splash page. Old Doctor Manhattan tinkering in his lab. Old Doctor Manhattan napalming babies. you
Just
see,
destroying
you see that same kind of
the coldness
yes, no matter what he's doing,
and
which
the.
is again economic storytelling and sort of
I mean, that is absolutely horrifying.
yeah,
You know?
absolutely. And you also can see like this is how we win in Vietnam, as
Yeah.
opposed to how things went down in this timeline. And you see the Viet Cong surrendering
Insane.
out of like reverence for this godlike figure, kind of again just going back and showing how horrifying all this stuff is.
Isn't that like Is he referencing the what is that, like, American folklore, the Big
Oh,
John or whatever, like that?
Paul Bunyan.
Paul Bunyan. Is he doing a Paul Bunyan take on
I'm not
this?
saying he isn't, but it's like, I guess if you want a dark, gritty reboot of Paul Bunyan, you throw him in Nam. Um,
Dude, this was epic.
yes, how he handles the protesters, just that's a pretty tough line. Pay attention, you will all return to your homes. Oh yeah, what if we don't? You big blue fruit. You misunderstand me. It was not a request. And
It
this is
sounds so hard, man.
so hard. I mean, obviously horrifying,
Yeah.
but and yeah, he even mentions like some of the people died of heart attacks, but it would have been less than if there was a riot. So it's like all this like
It's this weird, like, uh he reminds me of, like, The Stranger in the
right.
Albert Camus. Have you read that?
Yes, yes, a very disaffected,
Just like so like
removed.
numb. He
Yes.
has the nausea of being alive and all this stuff, and it makes sense. He's the pinnacle of, I guess, like, existence, in
Yeah.
a sense.
I mean, yeah, it's, very I don't know, post the ultimate in postmodernism, where it's like,
Right.
there is no objective truth. The amount of atoms in a dead person is the same as the amount in a living person, or
Yeah.
whatever. So, again, it's a disaffectedness, not necessarily from, an emotional numbness, but from an intellectual overabundance.
From knowing. Yeah.
And we get the Keen Act with all the different capes retiring. Love this fucking victorious gimp mask comedian panel. Rorschach throwing the serial rapist at the cop's
It's fucking
doorstep with
hard, man.
the note that says never with the little Rorschach signature at the end.
That's the coldest homie here.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, again, just because you're not supposed to idolize Rorschach, it doesn't mean you can't put respect on his
Yeah.
name. He's not
Yeah.
like the fun character. He's,
Yeah.
showing the warnings of the world, but it's still fun to read. It's fun to
Yeah.
read this crazy person. And this is the scene I was saying that I think he kind of bit from that. Is it Nexus, that comic?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you go back and watch our Nexus video,
Yeah.
you'll see, I think, really where they aped this sequence from, the building of the glass citadel from
Right.
nothing. This is all just old boy's manipulation of atoms here.
Like the cogs and the
Yes,
watch and everything. And
and he's
I
just
remember we pointed to, there was the panel that looked just like this.
right. Yeah.
On that Nexus album, on the Nexus book.
Yes.
And did we determine that it came out like a year before this?
It was before Watchmen, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. That I just think this is a swipe from that sequence, which is fine.
And it's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It works. It
It's
totally
not,
works.
and I'm sure they swiped it from somewhere else or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, at least that's the first antecedent to this that I know of.
Mm.
But that's besides the point, because basically Homeboy's just posting up to watch this cool little
Yeah.
display, probably before he kind of fizzles out even further. And then we're kind of that's our into four. We got a little scientific journal about documenting the impact and significance of Dr. Manhattan in our world. And then after that, we are going to clock out here and get it, clock back in. And this is what kicked it into overload. You know the gimmick with this issue?
No.
All right, I'm going to have a lot of fun next.
Okay.
Sick! We're going to crack into this, and we're going to get into Chapter 5, Fearful Symmetry.
Love this. Forecast cloudy, heavy rain later.
Awesome. All right. Yeah.
Catch us on the next one.
Yes.
Guys.
At ease. Ooh.